Babysitting had always seemed like easy money. Watch some kids, let them sleep, and get paid. That's exactly what I thought when I agreed to watch the Richards' 4-year-old, Max. Their house was one of those sprawling suburban homes, all clean lines and perfectly manicured lawns, a place where nothing bad could ever happen. Or so I thought. The evening started off as uneventfully as they come. Max was an easy kid. He ate his dinner without fuss, let me read him a bedtime story, and drifted off by 8:30. With the baby monitor in hand, I settled into the couch, flipping through channels and scrolling my phone. But by 9:30, boredom set in. That's when curiosity got the better of me. I'd noticed earlier how the Richards' house seemed a little too perfect. Not a single picture frame out of place, not a speck of dust on the shelves. It felt staged, like a model home. And then there was the hallway upstairs, a long corridor lined with closed doors. I hadn't needed to go past Max's room earlier, but now I felt a strange pull toward it, as if the house itself was daring me to explore. At first, I justified it as practicality. What if Max needed something and I didn't know where to find it? I crept upstairs, my footsteps muffled by the plush carpet. The hallway was eerily silent, the kind of quiet that makes your ears ring. One by one, I opened the doors. A pristine guest bedroom. A home office with neatly stacked papers. A bathroom so spotless it gleamed. Normal, boring, and uneventful. Then I reached the last door. Unlike the others, it was locked. The doorknob rattled under my hand, refusing to budge. That should have been my cue to stop, to go back downstairs and wait out the rest of the night. But something about that locked door felt wrong. Why lock a room in your own home? What could possibly be inside? That's when I noticed the key. It was hanging on a small hook in the hallway, almost too conveniently placed. My heart was pounding as I grabbed it, the logical part of my brain screaming at me to leave it alone. But curiosity drowned out reason. The lock clicked open, and the door creaked as it swung inward. The room was dark, and the air was colder than the rest of the house, carrying a faint metallic tang. I fumbled for a light switch and froze when I found it. The room wasn't empty. At first glance, it looked like some kind of storage space, cluttered with old furniture and boxes. But then I noticed the walls. They were covered in writing. Hundreds of jagged scratches etched into the plaster. Words, numbers, symbols, overlapping and chaotic, as if someone had clawed them out in a frenzy. The phrases made no sense: don't trust the mirrors, he's watching, and it hides in the shadows. A chill crawled up my spine. I stepped further into the room, drawn to a large, antique mirror leaning against the far wall. Its surface was cracked, splitting my reflection into fractured pieces. As I stared, the air seemed to thicken. The longer I looked, the more I felt like something was looking back, not at me, but through me. Then, I saw it. At first, I thought it was a shadow, a trick of the dim light. But as my eyes adjusted, the shape became clearer. It was tall and thin, its limbs unnaturally elongated. It stood in the corner of the room, just outside the mirror's frame. My breath hitched, and I spun around, but the corner was empty. When I turned back to the mirror, the figure had moved closer, its hollow eyes locked onto mine. I stumbled back, knocking over a box that sent a cascade of old photographs spilling onto the floor. In the dim light, I saw faces staring up at me, the Richards family, but not just them. There were other people too, dozens of them, all caught in moments of ordinary life. What froze my blood was the recurring figure in the background of each photo, the same elongated shape, lurking in the shadows. Panic surged through me. I bolted out of the room, slamming the door behind me and locking it. My hands were trembling so badly I could barely hook the key back on its peg. As I stood there, trying to catch my breath, I heard it, a faint tapping sound coming from the other side of the door. Steady. Deliberate, I raced back to the living room, my heart hammering. The baby monitor crackled to life, and I froze. A soft, muffled voice came through the speaker. It wasn't Max. The words were distorted, but I caught fragments. Come back. Stay with us. I grabbed my phone, ready to call the Richards or 911, but the screen was dead. No signal, no Wi-Fi, nothing. My only thought was to check on Max. I ran upstairs, bursting into his room. He was still in bed, sound asleep. But something was wrong. The room felt colder than before, and the shadows seemed to stretch further than they should. Then I saw the mirror on his closet door. My fractured reflection stared back at me, and behind it, the figure loomed, closer than ever. I didn't wait to see what happened next. I grabbed Max, blankets and all, and ran. I don't even remember locking the front door behind me. I just drove, the boy still fast asleep in the back seat, until I reached the nearest gas station and called the Richards from their landline. They came to pick him up, their faces pale when I told them what had happened. They didn't ask for details, and I didn't offer any. As they drove away, I saw it again, in the reflection of my rearview mirror, a shape in the back seat of their car, just for a moment, before it vanished. That was the last time I ever babysat for anyone. If you like such stories, subscribe to Dark Tales HQ.